Some reflections there from the national commemorative ceremony that took place at the Cathedral behind me earlier today. I'm Vashi Kapellos. This is a special edition of Power and Politics. One individual you heard from there was Albert Dumont. He's the English Poet Laureate in Ottawa. He's also the Algonquin spiritual advisor to the Christchurch Cathedral. I had the opportunity to touch base with him about the ceremony and his own reflections on the Queen's legacy. Have a listen to what he had to say. Hi, Mr. Dumont. Good to have you here, and nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
I was watching you deliver your remarks, and I was wondering how it felt to do so, and what was it like being in that room?
Well, I've been in the church before, so that wasn't at all strange to me. It was a very special event, and I recognized that. You know, it was an extraordinary day. I think Canadians, most Canadians will be proud of how things went today. I just, when I started my day this morning, my request to the Creator was that the whole thing was going to go good, not just my part in it. So it went good, and I'm proud to have been part of it. I'm going to write a blog about it later on. I like writing blogs, so we'll do that.
And what message did you intend to deliver today? What did you want to get across to Canadians who were watching the ceremony take place?
I think I want those people who admire the Queen and who loved her to know that that it meant something, you know, to human beings. You know, when there's a loss, we care. You know, the human heart cares. And so I want to put something together that wouldn't be frowned upon by those people who love the Queen, and I hope I did that.
I was listening also to an interview you did with my colleague Rosemary Barton, and you spoke a bit about how there are many people who love the Queen for sure, but there are others in Canada, in particular Indigenous people, who have conflicting feelings about the monarchy, largely, especially with the role that it's played in the past. And as you reflect on that, I wonder what your thoughts are.
Well, whenever I think about the fact that the Queen had an estate of $21 billion, I think of where did that wealth come from? And I think it's from probably, lots of it must have came from colonized lands where resources were, let's say, stolen. And I know that as far as the Anishinaabe Algonquin go, that the British, our relationship with the British wasn't good. Like the British were at war with the French, and the British had their allies, and the French had their allies, and the British supplied weaponry to the people who were massacring the Algonquins. So what do you think about that? But I have a way of dealing with things, you know. I don't take anything lightly, especially atrocities. I went to the forest, I communicated with the land, I went to the lake, and like I told some friends, I even went wild blackberry picking. To me, it's a ceremony, you know. The whole thing is right from the beginning to the end. It's a ceremony. So I did many ceremonies to prepare my words, and I say I hope it went well.
I think it did go well. I can say from watching from the outside, certainly your words had a lot of impact. Just before I let you go, for people who might be watching and might feel a bit conflicted, especially now as there's a new king, and what the role of the monarchy might look like going forward, what words would you lend them right now?
Well, as far as King Charles goes, I'd love if he just opened up more lines of communication with the First Peoples. I just love it if he just sat with a group of people and got their their feelings about what should happen in the future. The monarchy has never really apologized for the brutal things that have occurred, and I'd like to see them apologize a sincere apology. That would be good.
Okay, Mr. Dumont, I'll leave it there. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure to speak to you.
Thank you.
All the best.
Just some of the musical tributes that took place in the national commemorative ceremony that happened just a little earlier today in the Cathedral right behind me in Ottawa. I'm Vashi Capellos on this special edition of Power and Politics. We had the opportunity to sit down with Rufus Wainwright, the last artist you saw in that montage there, who sang Hallelujah, Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah. In fact, we asked him about the performance and what it meant to him. Have a listen to our conversation. Hi there. Very nice to meet you, and nice to have you with us today on a somber day. What are you were invited to perform here. Why is it something you wanted to take part in?
Well, I had the opportunity of performing for the Queen a few years ago at Westminster Abbey, and so I did meet her, and yeah, it was a thrill at the time, and I was brought up in Canada, though I live in the United States today. So it's also a nice time to kind of reconnect with my Canadian roots after living in the U.S. for a while. So it's it's a momentous day, and yeah, I wanted to be a part of it.
When you met the Queen originally, do you remember your interaction? Do you remember your impression of her at the time?
Yeah, no, she was very. She's quite short, but disarmingly kind of simple in a lot of ways. You know, even though she was decked out and everything, you got a sense that she was just like a normal little lady, and that was that is always comforting.
I keep hearing that people who meet her say she always put people at ease. Like, yes. She had a way of disarming. Like, you kind of forgot that she was royalty almost. Is that your sense?
Yeah, you did, and. I don't know. I mean, I think having, obviously grown up with her, seeing her on the money, and so forth, and having the same with my mother and my grandmother, having grown up with her as well. It's just, that she is a part of the family in so many ways. So it's disarming, but it's also very familiar.
Right. That's a perfect way of putting it. And what have you sort of garnered from the reaction? Like, have you been taken aback a bit by how much outpouring there is, or is it something you would have expected?
I think it makes sense. I mean, for me, the most important thing is, as I said before, I live in the U.S., and we've had a tough time, and we are still having a tough time in terms of governmental stuff. I won't get too into it, but needless to say, it'd be nice if there was someone above, who represented the Constitution in the U.S. that could just, give us a little guidance occasionally. So I've been appreciating the monarchy actually a lot living in the U.S.
Interesting. And you're going to perform today a song that we've heard you perform before.
Hallelujah.
Yes. Why did you? Is that your selection, or did someone else?
It was requested. It was requested, and. Of course, it works in this context, but also it's nice to be representing Leonard Cohen a little bit, because he's a sort of family member of sorts of mine. So it's good to get everything in there.
It's going to be a beautiful performance, I'm sure.
Yes.
I know we're all looking forward to it. Thank you very much for making time for us. I appreciate it.
Thank you.